Oh my god! Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am BorderWise and welcome to From the Depths, version 2.5.1.11. The most recent update, of which this is my second attempt recording it because my computer sometimes hates me and corrupts footage. That's fun. Anyway, so first off, like you would have seen just now, the undo feature is here, but more on that later. In order of the patch notes, which has been so kindly provided on the internet, there's a bunch of new changes, little tweaks here, there, and everywhere, and some new blocks, and some new features, and we'll just have a look at them today. First up, for the decoration-happy crowd, munition warners can now see through railings, which is very nice. It means that you can make aesthetically pleasing ships, stick railings on them, and you don't have to worry so much about blocking off your munition warners. That's pretty cool. The second thing that's happened is that the shield projector UI has been updated, which is about time, and it's quite pretty full, and yeah, it looks like this now. More clear where everything is, size, the type of shield, and all that. Shields still suck, by the way, but yeah. But I've talked about that enough in previous videos. And APS and crams have a bit of a tweak. The guns are a little different. So they have the aim straight option. So in order to demonstrate that, we need the Marauder, our old friend. By old friend, I mean old target dummy. So this is how they fire normally, and the default is only aim low, which is all very well and good. But there's now this option. So you have only low, prefer high, only high, and now you have direct line. So if we do that, and we do this, so again, only low, prefer high, only high, direct line. We set this rolling. And interestingly, it doesn't actually seem to work that well. I think maybe I've done something wrong, but direct line is a bit bugged at the moment. Is that clamshell going to actually... That is going to... Is that actually going to hit? It's going to miss by inches by the looks of it. But yeah, the APS gun isn't aiming at all. So yeah, that's a little bit... That is a little bit bugged at the moment. I'm not sure how it's going to be fixed. But yeah, that's a feature, so I'm not entirely sure how that's going to be useful yet, largely because I haven't been able to test how it would be useful. But presumably it's for shooting at very fast targets at short range with fast shells, because a big problem with the way the AI targets anything in this game is that it can't predict curving movement. So at short range, and I tend to exploit this with my little hover bomber things, you get something just endlessly spinning in a tight circle above a target. It's basically immune to any form of weapon that isn't hit scan. So hopefully this, when this actually works, this direct line should be able to mitigate that a little bit. But yeah, crams have an extra little setting, and this is Herpderp, who has been working way quietly in the background. This setting right here, only high, for crams, was pretty darn useless before, but it's slightly less useless because now cram shells, when fired with this only high setting, they have gravity compensation, which means they can still fall if they go into space, and they have a tiny amount of guidance. So if we just get rid of this guy, get rid of this guy right now, and do this. This guy will fire, and a big arc. This is a reasonably slow shell as well, so thankfully the arc can be smaller than usual, even though it's flinging up quite high. And hopefully, as we track the shell, you can see, hopefully it turns a little bit. I can't actually see it turning. Not a very accurate cram, which is not great. Let's see. Let's track this one. Hopefully you can see it. It's like 1 degree every second it can track, so it's far more noticeable if the target is moving. Yes, and nope, miss. How inaccurate is this thing? This is pretty darn inaccurate, I think. Where's it? Yeah, that's pretty horrible accuracy. Wait for it. One more. It's kind of hard to see, but... yeah. Nope, miss. Well, take my word for it. There's a wee bit of guidance. I have managed to see it before. And yeah, that's hopefully going to make only high arc aiming slightly less useless than it was before. Now, moving on. So, deleting this fortress right here, because we've seen everything on it. Let us now move on to propulsion changes. So, in the propulsion, one important little feature, and this is partially to make way for the new for the physics changes that is likely. I'm never quite remember whether it's actually it's going to guaranteed to happen, or whether it's just being discussed at the moment. But physics is going to be changed a little bit. The short version is that all propulsion systems will have less thrust, but also water and air will have considerably less drag. So it's going to be different, and you're going to have to work your craft a little bit differently. But yeah, one of the things that's going to change with that is that props in particular, you can't just staple gun lots of props on the underside of your craft to keep it afloat, because there'll be less thrust, and water will have less drag, which presumably means things will sink faster. And yeah, so it means you'll need something else to at the very least control roll and pitch and all that jazz, and that's where this feature comes in. You can add pitch angle to a propulsion unit, so you can tilt it about 15 degrees either way, forward or backward, and that is just so you don't need to add any kind of pitch props or roll props or anything like that to your craft. You can just angle its main propulsion in a way so it doesn't pop a wheelie or dive into the ocean, which is quite nice actually. Just want to see right now if yep, you can do it there. Can you do it with air things? You cannot do it with jets. You can only do it with props right now. What does that look like? Looks a little bit weird. But yeah, so that is a new feature. Also, helium pumps are more powerful, and let's just test that quickly. So if the helium pump is as powerful as I'm led to believe, this thing should float in the air. I say that. So, helium. Hello? There you go. So. Okay, so that's not quite floaty, but that is still very floaty indeed. I wonder if I replace this with light alloy. Wah! Let's see how strong this is. Not quite powerful enough. Let's have a scratch. Okay. Oh, it's flooded, right. How is this leaking? Underwater buoyancy, 80 meters is flood. What are you talking about? There's no holes in here. That's weird. Is there a hole in the underside? What the? There's no hole here, you bloody fool. That's not a leak. No, that's not a leak, game. Okay, so that segues very neatly into the next point, which is helium and air pumps. The way they leak, that's actually a new feature, I think, that little UI change. I don't remember seeing that before. Yeah, the way they calculate leakage is a bit different. That is supposedly better, more realistic. Okay, you do this now. Okay, that was weird. That was just... Oh, well, oh my goodness, yeah, that works. We've made a floating box, just with a helium pump. Okay, so that's probably also a change paving the way for the new, what do we call it? For the new physics change, because that means that helium pumps are going to be much more viable for airships. And I think, yeah, internal daddy blades are going to be, well, changed so you can't get away with them that easily. So this probably also welcome. That's going to keep flying into space, isn't it? Okay, so speaking of daddy blades, let's get rid of this. So daddy blades. Which way is up right now? Let's do this. So, and daddy blades. The way that daddy blades scale is a little bit different. So it's encouraging people to have longer. Wrong thing. No. To have longer blades on their daddy blades rather than just lots of little lots of separate long poles. So what you got here is like, okay, blade placed 1 meter from the pole, which provides a boost of 1 to the lift produced by the blade. Has the equivalent of 2 blade pieces due to their placement. So you do this, 1.4. It has the equivalent of 4.8 blade pieces. So basically, the further away a daddy blade section is from the central spinner, the stronger it is. And doing that, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 16. So it's got 10 of them, and let's see. Actually, hold on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we go here. Okay, so it's got 20. It's over twice as much. So rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So rather than 5 crosswise, so remember this number, 44.9. 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 33.5. So you're better off with longer blades rather than lots of them all around the radius or on a longer pole. So if we do this, this, and do this, and we have this guy. So we want to beat 44.9. Also, yeah, we want same number of poles. So we want 10 of these. We want 10 of these. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, is this? Yeah. Okay, really. So it's the equivalent of 10 blade pieces is all in the blades now. So I don't think. Do the poles provide any extra thrust? I guess not. So equivalent of 10 blade pieces. So you're far better off with the wider one than the longer one. So width over length, just like some other things I could name. I mean ships. I mean ships. Just in case you were wondering. Okay, so what else? What else? So in case you didn't know, the From the Depths has a Patreon page now. So if you have spare change floating around and don't feel like flinging it at my Patreon page for whatever reason, you can fling it at them, and there's a number of perks, and one of them is requests for like little tiny features that doesn't take too much time away from them. And 2 of them have already been implemented with this update, and one of them is the Ocean Clarity Slider, which is a wee bit buggy, or so I hear. But yeah, so you might be noticing you can actually see the ocean floor right now. That is because let's turn off caps lock. Over here, so this requires the GPU Ocean to be enabled, and here's the clarity factor. It's cranked all the way up to full, but you can drop it down a little bit. So we do that. Probably requires not sure how well you can see that. It can be sometimes a little bit hard to tell. It's easiest to tell when you're underwater, so let's try that. Clarity factor. That didn't do anything. And whoop. But if you drop it all the way down to 0, what you get is, I think you need to wait for the water to load in again. So yeah, that's less clarity, and it means you can't see anything when you're underwater. So I personally love to set this up all the way to maximum, because I like to see what I'm doing, and also it's slightly more interesting than to just looking at a featureless, endless ocean. I like the ocean, but some of you might hate this because you see like the yellow lumps of land and all that stuff, and the repetitive land texture, but actually, yeah, that's a nice seam right there. Yeah, I think that it's on no one's mind to improve the texture of the terrain, although that is quite nice. But yeah, that might be a good idea in the future. But anyway, what else? There's also, oh yeah, the other thing. So let's spawn in a ship. So let's, what ship do I have that I can do stuff with? The Dracaena. The Dracaena. Yeah, that's how you pronounce it. So here's a Dracaena. Don't worry too much about it. It's a ship. And smoke, or more precisely, smoke emitters have been changed. They've been modified to have more options, basically. So here we have our smoke generator, currently set to flame smoke. Okay, so let's we'll have you drive around in a big circle, eh? Okay, so now we're here, and the smoke is spitting out smoke. Also, it seems to do it in bursts now, which I think is not an intended feature of this. But you can change the speed of the... I can't remember what features were here already and what weren't. The color was certainly here. And smoke speed, size. You can change the... What else? Hold on. So, gravity. So, how much it's affected by gravity. The drag, as in, like, how quickly it slows down. The particle count and the lifetime of the smoke. So, you crank lifetime up to 20 seconds, it lasts a long time. So, only do that if your CPU can handle it. What else? Gravity. You can set it to -1. And that means it'll puff up and probably go straight to space. Yeah, just floaty, way up into space. It'll... Look at this farty boat. Whee! Do. And drag, you can set that up. Gravity set... Whoops, wrong button. Gravity set to 1 is quite fun because it just drops straight in the ocean. Come on. And then it just drops. So, if you want heavy smoke, like real polluting smog, you horrible, environmentally unfriendly person, well, that's an option now. You just up the gravity on the smoke. Also, the particle count factor set to 1, but you can also drop it way down. So, let's see that again. Whee! Boop! Just the occasional... Let's crank that up. And color. Let's see that. And nothing. Let's have some red smoke. Red smoke? Come on. Spurt some smoke. I've broken it. Well. Oh wait, no. Ah, crud. Just get a good look at that smoke. Is that... it's vaguely red. Okay, the color of the smoke is a little broken right now. So, this, I gotta warn you, this update has some bugs. It is not... It never goes completely smoothly, integrating everything. So, that's next on the list is a new laser weapon. Or rather, a new laser block. So, let's spawn in our friend the Marauder. Over here. Actually, no. That's where you are. And let's go here. Test fortresses. And short range laser test. So, what is this thing? This is the short range laser combiner. And this is something Nick has just plopped in. And it is like the laser combiner, except it's short range. So, the short-range laser combiner focuses the laser at shorter ranges than the standard laser combiner. Combined typo, guys. It's extremely powerful up close, and the shorter the focus distance you set, the more powerful it becomes, connected to a multi-purpose laser. So, I've also, when I first tested this, it doesn't appear to work with fail-safes, which is a little bit of a fail, but that can be fixed. So, the trick with this is that at short range, maximum range is 300 meters, and that's the focus distance. And at max range, the damage multiplier is times 2.88, about 3 times the damage of a standard laser combiner using the same laser setup, which is that thing right there, which isn't fantastic. It's quite... I don't know, I could probably do a lot better, but I just made that quickly. So, if you set it to 300, it's about 3 times as much damage. It's about 4 times as much damage with 200. It's about 5.5, almost 6 times as much damage at 100. And if you set it to the minimum setting, which is 50, it's times 10 the amount of damage. So this is a block which is meant to encourage all of us to use melee lasers, because goodness knows we weren't really doing that, were we? Or maybe you were, I don't know. I certainly wasn't. I was too busy making guns and shooting marauders for fun. But in any case, so this thing is actually pretty good. So this is, if you set it up to about 3 max range, it still does about 3 times as much damage as a regular laser combiner. And there's no damage fall off either, so... or at least I don't think there is. So at 300 meters it does full damage, which means it's better than a regular laser combiner for that distance. Just, it is much better. Much, much better. So, with that in mind, let's spawn in something for it to shoot at. So, let's have a duster. This is a continuous laser, by the way. So, we have here the duster. So, that just got melted. Let's have... what's another thing? What's cheeky little thing? Let's have a shard. So, yeah, like, for Seawiz, this could potentially be really good. Actually, you could use this to shoot down missiles very well. So imagine you set this up with a lot of storage, like in just a few destabilizers or something like that, and then basically have a melee craft that can just do a drive-by, essentially an attack run over an enemy craft and just fry it on the way past. Actually, a laser bombers, pretty much, would love this. Something that flies low over a target, has a bunch of these strapped on the other side, and just dumps laser energy into it, and melts it to pieces, and drives off, flies away, rather. Enough time for the laser system to recharge, and then it comes back and does it all again. So that's a pretty interesting new feature. I'm looking forward to what people come up with. And now we get to what was promised before, which is... drumroll please. The undo feature, which we've been wanting... well, I think pretty much everyone has wanted this in this game at some point. And it's very simple. You do a thing, say, dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun, oops, misclick. I didn't want that to happen. And the great thing is, there's no limit to the memory of this, really, until you exit the game. So I can do, you know what, I didn't care for that. Do. Actually, and also there's a redo button. It's like, actually, you know what, I did want that block there. Whoop, there it goes. And, yeah, it's really fantastic. Like, I am so looking forward to building stuff now. It's particularly if, like, you do this, like this always happens to me. I'm just building something, I'm busy in a space, and I accidentally hit F. Gosh, dang it. Easy. Phil, actually, you know what? I didn't want to do that. Actually, no, I did want to do that. Actually, no, I didn't. This is brilliant! I'm so happy. I would dance in my chair right now, but my chair's really creaky, and that'll be very annoying. So that's awesome. And there is, 2 final new features that we want to talk about. And it's to do with Steam, because Steam... hasn't been getting enough love. It's been kind of the black sheep of the power systems, because it's really inefficient. Don't worry, they're going to fix that eventually. First off, like, I don't remember there being huge versions of, like, the gears and all that stuff. Like, I don't know if that's new in this update, or I've just never noticed, because I never go into the Steam section. Like, literally ever. I never use Steam. Because, like, it's pretty bad at the moment. So, if you know of this, that, like, whether this huge stuff has been here before, do let me know, because it's not in the patch notes, and I don't remember it being here. But apart from that, there are 2 new additions, and one is steam drills. So you find them in the small, large, and huge gearbox sections, and they're all exactly the same block. It's just they're there, which is quite convenient actually. So what is this? So you've got the extension, so that's basically pop and pop and pop, so it's just the drill bit. And you have the head, which goes on there. I have not tested these things out yet. I can imagine the white flares using them. Actually, let's have a go right here. I am rubbish with steam. For those who think the shaft is too thin. Can do steam crankshaft and it. Oh goodness. Can I even? Oh no, I'm not. Nah. I'm not gonna try and relearn how to do steam right now. But for those of you who know how to do steam, that's right here. Oh, wait, no, wait, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Ah, screw it, we'll figure that out later. So yeah, that is an option. That is the steam drills. Might cut all that out, actually. But yeah, the last thing we want to talk about is another steam component. And if you go here, go into steam, go into pipes, you have this. You have the steam jet. And this is the idiot's steam use thing, because it's really, really simple. You don't need to know anything about steam in order to use this, and I know that because I made a craft that runs entirely off steam. Using these little things. So let's go to here, ships, prototypes, and steam jet test. So what this thing is, was me mucking around with this new steam jet and seeing what you can use it for. So, you can use it for anything. It's basically, think of it as a small jet, except it's powered by steam. So it's got this main thrusty steam on here. Yes, this thing vibrates like crazy. I just slapped a really... my default PID on it is going to headbang like crazy. Sorry if that drives you... Can you stop? Even I am starting to feel sick by that. But in any case, it's fully controlled by these little steam jets. A maximum force output for each of them is about 2,000. So 2,000 steam pressure equals 2,000 force. It's like scales pretty well. And they can be controlled by PIDs and just... yeah, it's pretty cool. So now this little thing is going to wobble around all over the place. And the thing about steam jets is that they work underwater, they work in air, and they also work in space. So this little guy is bouncing around. Let's have the Marauder. And they're reasonably fast too. This only has one... let's see here. So this actually is a little bit overkill for that little steam jet, because it's twice the pressure. I could stick 2 steam jets on the end of this. But actually, yeah, that's way too much. But yeah, like, this thing is going about 45 meters per second, and it's only being propelled by this one little steam jet. It's great. And for comparison, a maximum force of this guy is about 2,000, and meanwhile, maximum force of a jet engine, just a small one, is 500, and maximum force of an ion thruster is about 150 for a small one. So these steam jets give a huge amount of force. And for propellers as well, maximum force 150, and maximum force for a huge propeller is 3,000. So props are still better for ships, but for aircraft, like, it's pretty, like, the steam jets are seemingly the way to go at the moment, because they're entirely self-run, you don't need engines or anything like that, and they're actually they're reasonably cheap, so they cost the same amount as a jet. So we go here, that's 50, and go to steam engines, steam pipes, that's also 50, only difference is the tiny, tiny steam system that you need to get one of these things to maximum force. And I mentioned that you can, this works in space. It works in space. So we're about to sail off into the atmosphere, way out of the range of this Marauder, which is kind of silly if you think about it, because, like, How is that meant to work exactly? Is that... I don't know. How is that meant to work? It's like a gas-propelled rubber ducky you put in space and just it works. I'm not sure how balanced that is, actually, simply because... Yeah. So, as we watch this guy ascend into the heavens, like, yeah, I like this update. This has got interesting stuff in it. It's a wee bit buggy. A few of the features aren't actually working as intended yet. But I love the fact that the ocean clarity has a slider now. I love that. And just pretty much everything that's working, I'm down with. Like, also Steam... Whoa, see, now we're in space. We're in space! Oh god, let's not do that. Woohoo! We're in space. We're steampunkers. You could make, with steam jets, a steampunk spacefaring faction. That just hit me right now. That is such a precious gift that has been given to us now. And yes, we are I guarantee you that we are going to abuse the hell out of it until it's nerfed back to sensible levels. So, on that joyous note, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon if you like, it really helps. Thank you to all my current Patreon supporters. And I will see you next time in From the Depths. Farewell!